Sir, we are discussing here about War of Daman. So, please give us a brief introduction about that war first.
You see, this operation was termed as Operation Vijay, and we fought. We had 3 Portuguese territories in India: Goa, Daman, and Diu. While Goa was assigned as a major attack for the Indian Army, Daman and Diu were assigned 2 battalions each. Daman was given to my battalion, and it was assigned to 1st Maratha Light Infantry. I belong to 1st Maratha Light Infantry. Now, initial information that we got was that Portuguese had a weak battalion there. They were all conscripted army.
Conscripted army means?
They have been forcibly made to join the army. You see, if you are a able-bodied individual, you are roped into the army, and irrespective of whether you like to serve in the army or not, but you are forcibly taken inside. That is conscription. So they were conscripted lot of army, and they are not professional soldiers. Now, we were professional soldiers, and we were assigned this task, and we were given the intelligence of Government of India at that time was very, very sketchy or faulty. We were told that Portuguese had backdated weapons, ill-trained army, but they had weapons. If they had got the will to fight, they could have been a good match to us. But we later on found out what state of preparedness they were in. We were stationed in Pune that time, and General J.N. Chowdhury was the Southern Army commander based in Pune. He called my commanding officer for a briefing, and he was told that Daman has to be liberated by us. And we were given in support 2 Mystère aircrafts located in Bombay, which were on call available to us. That means, in case we require those aircrafts to be brought into the play, they would take off from Bombay, come and attack Daman, and get back. Flying time was 2 minutes.
Okay.
Bombay to Daman was just 2 minutes flight for a Mystère aircraft. So they were available on call whenever we required it. Apart from that, we had a battery of artillery given to us from Deolali. So they joined us, and we went in there.
Deolali is in Nashik.
Nashik. So we all moved by road to Daman, to a place called Vapi in India, in Gujarat state, and from Vapi we moved on foot to the Daman territory. There was only one hill feature in between India and Daman that time. Its height was 0.365. 0.365 is the height of the feature on ground as given in our army maps. So we found that it was a sufficiently high feature, and when we climbed that feature, we could get an insight into Daman territory, and we were able to plan our move thereafter. You see, our first objective, the Government of India gave us orders that on a particular night we have to cross the international border. So we moved to the international border at a given time. Goa, Daman and Diu, all international borders were crossed at that time.
Same time.
Same time. All, whether in Goa, Daman or Diu. They were all coordinated. And we crossed into the enemy territory. Now, as far as my battalion is concerned, the Portuguese had really no concept of fighting. I told you already that they were a conscripted lot and therefore incapable of giving us any sustained opposition. However, we found to our surprise that some of the Portuguese who stuck to their guns, machine guns, heavy machine guns, they were called Breda guns, Breda, Portuguese Breda guns.
Okay.
They are capable of firing 780 rounds per minute. So this was the weapon preparedness in their trenches. And they started firing because they were not a trained army. They fired indiscriminately without any judgment of where the enemy was coming from, how much the enemy was coming. They had no clue about it, and they fired upon us. But anyway, it was ineffective fire. But it gave us the position where they were there at night. So we attacked them. By morning time, we were able to capture by first light. First light is the time when the sun comes up. By first light, we could capture the Daman airfield. There was a Maharashtrian family which was residing near the airport building. And when my troops went in, we found the firing was coming from that general area of this house. So one of the anti-tank platoon commanders, he said he used his gun on that area. The anti-tank gun shell went through the building but didn't explode. We never knew that there was a family staying inside the house. But when the thing went up all over the place, we could locate that there was a lady, 2 children, and a husband in the house. This was the composition of that family there. And we recovered them. We got them out. But the shell which had entered pierced into the walls of the house, it could not be touched. Because had we touched it, it would have exploded. So we had no option but to evacuate these people out. And we told everybody not to touch it. Because ultimately we had to blow it up. But that was a short action there. The rest of the Portuguese collapsed. But next morning, some firing still continued. So we brought the Air Force into operation. So we had 2 Mystère aircrafts located in Bombay. These aircrafts came over. Within 2 minutes, they appeared on the skies. Air Force attacks, initially they got a ground liaison officer on ground who directs the aircraft to the target. Now, the flying time was 2 minutes, I told you. These aircrafts appeared on the skies and they came in very low. They recognized where the ground liaison officer, GLO, was standing, and then the GLO directed the fire to the correct place. The 3 rockets that they fired from the aircraft was good enough to shake the Portuguese. 3 rockets were fired. One was in the market area, one was where the guns were located, but they all were blown up in matter of minutes. But they all came waving out their hands that they wanted to surrender to us. So we stopped the firing. And when we got the governor to surrender to us, now the governor came and he was told by my commanding officer that you have to sign on the unconditional certificate, that you have to surrender unconditionally to the Indian Army. He refused to sign. So he was told that he had a choice of getting back. And as he turned back, he said, we also cautioned him that we had the option to shoot him. But my commanding officer then thought that shooting him is no problem, but that we should just injure him. So we fired on his knee. Well, he fell down. He was treated by our medical chaps, bandaged around, and he was brought on a stretcher and was forced to sign the certificate. And the war ended. That was the small action that we took in Daman. But when we rounded up these people, they had 8 artillery pieces, 25-pounder guns. They had 35 Breda guns, massive weapons, and a massive amount of ammunition with them. Finished, it was a matter of just a day and a half, and got finished. As against this, the infantry battalion faced a lot of problem. You see, whenever you attack a location which is next to the seaside, you have always got to cater for the high tide, low tide timings. Now, there was only one land approach to get to the Diu area. Now, the army went on through the land approach. These were Rajput battalion. They were no good swimmers. But as the battalion went in, the high tide came up. They had not calculated the high tide timings. So they had 12 drowning casualties. 12 drowning. It has a bad moral effect on the troops. If you start losing your friends and colleagues, the morale of the fighting of the soldier goes down. And one could not blame them for that. It could happen to any regiment. So that was the thing. But ultimately Diu also fell down. Goa had some fight because Goa was a major. Goa fell down within matter of another 12 hours time. So this was a brief action. So that was the thing.
In case of Daman, what is the number of total casualty for Indian Army?
Indian Army, we had 3 dead. Okay. 3 dead. 9 wounded.
Okay.
No other casualties.
And for enemy?
Enemy, there was one officer was killed. One of their officers was killed, and there were 35 wounded people. There was one white Portuguese who was married and his wife was there. So when the orders came later on that they had to be evacuated from there to Goa. So you see, we thought of evacuating them by ship. So Navy provided the ship, came in. INS Delhi was there. It came and it came down, but the naval people said that the lady cannot be allowed to board the naval ship. That was they had a tradition. No lady can get onto a naval ship. So that was declined. We had to take the Portuguese by train to go from Daman to Goa. That's how the thing was finished.
Then what you are calling that Portuguese army was there.
Uh-huh.
So whether that was Portuguese, that means people from Portugal were there? Or
Yes, yes, white Portuguese.
Okay.
White Portuguese. These were white Portuguese, but since they were conscripted army, but I must say a word of praise for those Portuguese people. They were very good entrepreneurs. You see, like yesterday I showed you, in my house there's a chap, I had 385 people in my camp as prisoners. Now, how to keep these people busy throughout the day was my problem. And I thought of exercising them to such an extent that they will feel tired and will not get up to any mischief. That was my problem. So when I rounded up these fellows, and I used to make them run 14 miles a day. Now, one of the persons said I would not run. So I had him marched up to me, and I asked him, why do you want to run? He says, I am an artist. I've never done this sort of a job. I said, what sort of an artist are you? Can you draw me? He said, yes, I can draw you. I asked my Howla Major, इनको टेबल कुर्सी दो हमारा ऑफिस में. The table kursi was provided, and he sat there for 10 minutes. Just 10 minutes he sat in my office. And he says, I finished. I said, let me see what have you drawn? 10 minutes is too fast a thing. He had just drawn some lines across the paper, this way, that way. I felt rather annoyed and cut up. And I said, if this is the standard of your drawing, then you better join the running squad tomorrow morning. You are not going to be excused. He said, no, I have not finished. I'll give it to you tomorrow morning. And next morning, what he produced is hanging in my house. You've seen it yesterday.
Yes.
It's a very beautiful sketch that he drew of me. Pencil sketch, but lovely sketch. I gave him full marks for that. These were the good qualities in some of the fellows.
Okay, so we treated them according to that Geneva Treaty.
Geneva Convention. Geneva Convention says that you have got to ask a captured soldier his number, rank, number of years of service that he has put in, and nothing else. You can't ask him anything more. You cannot torture him. But there are stories where Indian prisoners in Germany were very highly tortured. You see, World War II. Japanese ill-treated our people in the eastern sector very badly. But there are like that, people who are like that. Pakistanis have been all along treating our soldiers like that.
That incidents are recurringly occurring.
Yes, yes. But Pakistanis, well, less said the better about it, those fellows really. They are incapable of doing anything. That's all. Daman. Finished.